and your local Ingles market.
It's the Saturday Morning Scramble on the Fan Upstate.
Well, for one more time, we come to you live from Ingles Markets, this time in Chesney, South Carolina. I'm Cole Bryson, Alex Guest to my right. The final Saturday morning scramble of the season. Alex Guest, can you believe it? Doesn't it fly by every single year?
I'm shedding some tears right now.
I know. Yeah. It's here.
You're excited to sleep in next week.
I am excited to sleep.
Yeah.
But I love getting up for this.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. I mean, I just when I wake up, I just hit the floor running, man. I hit the floor running. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Don't lie.
I do.
You've never hit the floor running a day in your life.
Hunting season.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
My bad.
Final Saturday scramble of the show. We started all the way back in August, and what was it, mid-August?
Yeah, August 16th.
August the 16th, and the Saturday scramble coming to an end. But, boy, we're going to give you one more really good show right here on the Fan Upstate for this year, and then we will be back next August one more time, right back at it. You blink, and August will be here before you know it. But, Alex, did you say 16? What did you say? August 16th?
August 16th, yeah.
Wow, it's been that long. My goodness.
That long.
That is a long time. Let's see. That would mean, okay, this would be, I'm doing some quick math here. Saturday Scramble started in 2019. Did you know that? Saturday Scramble started in 2019, meaning this would be?
This is 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Year 7.
Year 7. And this is show number 17 of year 7.
Ooh. Year 7, almost coming to a conclusion.
Not a whole lot to talk about this week since we're
not a lot of
counting
teams.
on our fingers and toes.
Not a lot of teams is what you're saying. And one of our area teams did take it on the chin last night, or yesterday, if you will. 3 more games today, state championship weekend, though. But, Alex Guest, we've got to get to, one more time, some scores from last night.
Some scores.
And I mean, when I say some, I mean 3.
It's some scores.
3 is better than 0.
Well, and you know what, Cole? I've got a little surprise for you.
Oh, God.
I've got a little surprise for you.
Oh, boy. Are you going to tell me what the surprise is?
Well, when I do my scores segment, I will.
Fine. All right, I'm ready.
You ready for the fastest score segment in
Actually, I was hoping you would make it last about 2 hours. But anyways, here we go. Last night's scores with Alex Guest, all 3 of them.
Last night's scores. Oceanside Collegiate defeated Belton Honeypath in the 3A state championship game. And as far as I'm concerned, Cole, Belton Honeypath's your state champions. I'll leave it at that.
Be careful.
Bamberg Earhart, that was a 28-7 win for Oceanside. Bamberg Earhart 35-21 win over Lamar in the 1A championship game, the closest game of the night last night. And it really wasn't that close. And then Northwestern, they took a 49-6 lead over Irmo at the half.
Ooh.
And
is that good?
Well, that constitutes a running clock, Cole, in the state championship game.
Yeah.
And so they ended up winning that game 55-13 over Irmo last night. And Cole, my surprise for you, I want to give a big shout out to the other kind of soccer. The Furman men's soccer team last night on the road in Portland defeated Portland 1-0 in the Elite 8 of the NCAA men's soccer tournament to make it to the Final Four. So they are 2 wins away from being national champions in men's soccer.
Wow.
So the other kind of football.
Expect that for a surprise this morning. Did not expect that. So what you're telling me
that was a game that kicked off at 10 p.m.
Who?
Furman.
I don't think you kick off. I don't think you kick off in soccer.
I think you do.
No, you don't kick off.
You
kick offs.
There's the first kick.
That's not
the
what
first
you
kick
don't
of
call
the
it
game.
the first kick
Whatever.
either. What do you call
the
it?
first kick of the game?
You don't say kickoff. There's only one kickoff. Are we going to debate this right now? Does anybody know? Let's see.
Fight.
Let's see. In soccer, okay, you're right. It's kickoff.
Dang. Look at me.
Chat GPT told me you were right.
Oh, Chat GPT. I don't know that I trust that, honestly.
Well,
I'll take the win, but I don't know.
You were right. Kickoff. I don't like it. It's not a kickoff.
It was 10 p.m. last night, though, when that started. That was all that I was getting at there.
Well,
they were on the West Coast.
congratulations
Congrats to Furman.
To Furman men's soccer, right?
Yeah.
A West Coast win. I like that.
Yeah.
West Coast win, and they're, what you say, in the Final Four now?
They're in the Final Four, which is in Cary, North Carolina.
Oh, not far.
No, not far.
They play the Division II baseball national championship.
Yeah,
in Cary.
they do.
Yeah. How about that? That is really interesting. So, congratulations to Furman, and that was a good surprise. I didn't know where you were going with that. I thought you were going to sing the scores.
You want me to?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I thought you were going to, but I didn't know what to expect there. So, those were the 3 + 1 = 4 scores from last night, including the Furman men's soccer score. And again, congratulations to them. You can watch the show, if you didn't know, for one more final time. High school football fans on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That is where you can find us. 97.1 FM Spartanburg on traditional radio, 97.7 FM Greenville on the Odyssey app, also on the iHeart Radio app, and you can even tell your Alexa to play the Fan Upstate. Alex, we have Paige Wofford, 9:20 a.m. on the show this morning. I was kind to Coach Wofford last night and said, you know what, we'll do later in the show. We'll do 9:20. That way you can get some Z's, sleep in a little bit. I don't know if he's going to after a big state championship win.
Well, he's already prepping for their next opponent.
Like Saban?
Yeah.
Yeah. Already looking for next year's Irmo team. 2 years in a row. Congratulations to Northwestern. Alex Guest, Northwestern 2 years in a row wins the state championship, and it just so happens that both times they won was over the Irmo Yellow Jackets, Irmo team that I saw the past 2 years in a row, a very good Irmo team led by Aaron Brand, and they fall short 2 years in a row on the biggest stage at South Carolina State to Northwestern, 55-13. You mentioned it, not even a close contest. Not at any point of last night's game was this close. I had some people sending me text updates during the basketball game last night, Alex. It was never close. It was never in question. Northwestern does what Northwestern does best, and they win big. You saw this Northwestern team, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and they are, as advertised, state champions once again. What a job Paige Wofford's done, man.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an incredible job by Paige Wofford over there at Northwestern. He is 70, either 70-16 or 71-16 in 7 seasons at Northwestern. So just incredible.
Say that again.
71-16.
Paige Wofford is 71-16
in 7 seasons at Northwestern.
Ooh.
Which is, I don't know if you know this, Cole, but that's pretty freaking good.
That is pretty good.
And you also count in that one of those 7 seasons is the shortened COVID season.
So what you're telling me is
where they went 7-1, so didn't play a full 10-game schedule at all.
I think, and of those 16 losses, look on his first 2 years.
Yeah.
I think his first 2 seasons they lost 3 or 4.
Well, his first season they went 2-8.
2-8.
So half of those losses
were in one season. His
and
first
then,
year there.
Since then they've gone 1 loss, 2 losses, 2 losses, 2 losses, none last year, and then 1 this year.
He was 2-8 in his first season. What year was that?
That was 2019. 2-8 in his first season.
What was he the next year?
They were 7-1. That was the COVID year.
That's right.
And their 1 loss was to TL Hanna.
Yeah.
In the Upper State Championship.
I'll tell you what, man, just a great job Paige Wofford's done. And again, we're having on the show at the 9 o'clock hour. But I'll tell you this, what's interesting is Northwestern, you said it, when he got there, they had been good. It's still football city. But my gosh, well, you tell me, Alex, why is Northwestern ever only winning 2 games? I don't know the answer to that. And again, I'm not saying it was his fault because it was his first year there.
Mm-hmm.
He had to build the program back and get it back to where it needed to be. But how does that program ever fall to those lows?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, Cole. I mean, you look at it; they were at that point 4 years removed from a state championship in 2015. David Pierce, that last state championship in 15 was with Kyle Richardson as the head coach.
Yeah.
David Pierce took over the program, and then
Did David ever win one?
David did not win one. They won a region championship his first year in 16. 17, David Pierce ended up leaving the program in the middle of the season. The way that I understood it, it was mutual parting of ways. So
who was 18 and 19?
18 was James Martin. James
God,
Martin.
I don't remember that name.
Yeah, it's
James Martin. That sounds like a guy within the bakery in England.
Yeah.
No offense to James.
I mean, it might be James Martin.
So he was only there for a year.
He was there for the second half of the 2017 season, and then all of 2018.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So he was there a year and a half.
Yeah. So James Martin, he's actually the current head coach at Blythewood.
Gotcha.
Allegedly,
according to the internet.
According.
That's interesting because they did go through a little lull there. You talked about Kyle Richardson. Go back to that page you were on there. Kyle Richardson was there for how many years?
Kyle Richardson was there for a while. Let's see.
What, too long?
5 years?
5 years?
Yeah.
So in 5 years, he won, 3 region championships?
2 region championships, 2 state championships. The years that they won state, they were 14-1 and 15-0 under Kyle Richardson.
Yeah, and they were consistently really good under Kyle, and obviously him being at Clemson now, he was a really good high school coach, and that kind of goes back to my point. They went through a drought there before Kyle Richardson, Alex, but for whatever reason, I don't know. It's interesting. Northwestern's always had the talent up there, but you do look at it. It is important to have good coaching, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget about that. And
100%.
And Paige Wofford's won state championships now, but go back to that page, outside of Paige Wofford and Kyle Richardson, when's the last time they won a state champion?
Moose Wallace in his last year there in 2010.
He did.
Before Kyle Richardson came in. Before that, though, Moose Wallace had the other 2 championships for them in 89 and in 93.
He was there a long time.
And that 93 championship, that's one that folks in Gaffney would like to forget because that's the one that Northwestern won 2-0 over Gaffney.
High scoring game.
Yeah, high scoring.
In 1993. How old were you in 1993?
For that championship game, I was 6 months old.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? Just out of the egg.
Yeah.
I mean, just hatched. How about that? 6 months old.
Yeah. How old were you in 93?
I was not alive.
Oh, yikes.
Not alive. Let's see. On the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, opening this can of worms back up, but it's okay. Texter says, great take by Matt Smith on the afternoon show Friday. Simple solution to the problem. Play the charter schools in the regular season, region play, and separate them for the playoffs. Can't understand why South Carolina High School League can't figure this out. Huh. We're going to go there?
You just opened the can of worms. So.
Well, the texter opened the can of worms. We brought it up again to the texter's point. I asked Matt Smith about it yesterday on the afternoon show. And, look, let me preface by saying this. This is a lightning rod conversation, right? It's like the Dallas Cowboys. You either love them or you hate them. And you're either on one side or the other on this. There's no middle ground, and that's fine. I can have the conversation. I don't mind having the conversation. However, I'll say this. I want to preface by saying, when I have these kind of conversations, just as we did yesterday on the show, and just as I was texting back and forth with Gray Ramsey about it last night, respectfully, these conversations are supposed to be had just like any other conversation where both sides are welcome. I have my opinion. And I have a microphone, but for whatever reason, Alex, people think that we have to all agree with, one side and can't have an opinion, and we don't know what we're talking about, and, we're just spewing a bunch of nonsense, and what do these idiots know? I want to be very clear. I in no way, shape, or form have ever crossed the line or meant any disrespect toward the coaches or players that coach and play for these charter schools. Like, I have no problem with the players and the coaches that are at those schools. That's not my issue. We cover them. How many times have we had MVP on the show this year? A lot.
Yeah.
So my problem has not been, never will be with the players and the coach. Have zero issue with them. My problem is the system. And I think that's where people, get upset and sensitive and make it into something that it's not. I don't have a problem with you wanting to better yourself in any way, shape, or form. No issue with that. The players at those charter schools, I know a lot of them at MVP. Guess what? They work hard. I know a lot of those coaches at MVP. They work really hard. Not discounting that.
Yep.
Again, for whatever reason, when we have this conversation, it turns into, oh, well, you're just against charter schools, yada, yada, yada. But for whatever reason, people can't understand that my argument, my opinion's never been against the players. It's never been against the coaches. Ever. Never will be. I'm not going to fault them for wanting to better themselves. So let me start by saying that. Number two, I don't understand the issue with you having your own playoff. Again, if you want to compete against the public charter schools during the regular season, that's one thing, right? But I just want to know from their side, why are you opposed to having your own playoff? And I was last night I was thinking about this and writing some notes down, and I understand that other public schools recruit, Alex, because that's one thing that we hear a lot when we have these conversations is, oh, well, guess what? Other public schools recruit as well. However, I just don't think it's the same. And let me go into some of these notes that I wrote down last night. So when you have, again, this is just my opinion. I'm always welcome the other side at 844 Fan Phone. Using a charter with statewide or out-of-zone enrollment, okay, like a Gray Collegiate. We all know, for those listening that may not really understand this conversation and the conversation that we're talking about, it doesn't resemble a typical community high school drawing from a fixed neighborhood, right?
Yep.
With that being said, Alex, it gives access to a much broader talent pool. Excuse me. It gives access to a much broader talent pool, right? The fact that the charter versus public fairness has triggered new rules, and this is where I stand. I want people to hear me on this when I say this. The fact that charter versus public has triggered new rules, like attendance zone multipliers, reclassification, legislative proposals. Just the fact that we have now new rules in place, in my opinion, suggests that everybody pretty much agrees that there's some kind of imbalance.
Yeah.
You don't just create new rules and new additions to the system. So, that's my whole point. You want to argue there's no imbalance. You want to argue you're playing by the set of, you want to argue that you're playing by the same rules as these public schools. Well, if you're playing by the same rules, why were multipliers created? Why were these new rules created? The fact that these new additions have been added shows that there is imbalance. Charter's ability to draw from a wide pool undercuts feeder schools like Belton Honeypath.
Yeah.
He talked about it yesterday. Russell Blackston did, right? All I'm saying is, for a fair playoff, a competitive system, especially in a state league setting, all charter or all public neighborhood schools competition, I think it suits them better to have their own playoff.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest thing that people want. And for whatever reason, Alex, when we have that conversation, it turns into, well, you're against charter schools. I mean, we had comments on Facebook last night. Well, my son, we sent our son there. He loves it. I'm not talking about your son going there. I'm glad your son loves it. I'm glad your daughter loves it. I am so glad. They work hard. I get that. I think people are missing, though, the conversation that I'm trying to have. It's not about the coaches. It's not about the players. I respect those coaches and the players as well. It's about the system. And hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm right there with you, Cole. I respect the players and the coaches of all of every single team in the state of South Carolina that's playing football, that's playing basketball, golf, soccer, whatever, But it is one of those situations where I 100% wholeheartedly agree that, yeah, they're going out there, they're working their asses off week in and week out, day in, day out. But at some point in time, because they are undercutting these other teams that, look, I grew up in Gaffney. I had to go to Luther Vaughn Elementary School. Shout out Luther Vaughn. I had to go to Gaffney Middle School. That's where I was zoned for. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
There was no going to one of these charter schools or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess if my parents wanted to send me to a charter school and pay buku of money for me to go to a charter school, that I could have done that. But I mean, they weren't coming out and recruiting and all of that kind of stuff to me. So why would you? I don't know.
So one of the arguments is, that I've heard in the last few days is, well, everybody recruits. Even
Yep.
public schools recruit.
Okay.
Yes, some traditional public schools recruit, but here's my notes on that. Especially strong athletic programs. There's no doubt. Westside's, I mean, come on. Let's call it like it is here. Westside's had some players transfer in over the past couple of years that hadn't grown up in Westside. And I even brought that up on the show the other day. Nobody talks about when I defend the charter schools. I did it last Saturday. You heard me do it with
Yeah.
Westside. Me and you and Kev sat here and talked about it.
Yeah.
But public school recruiting is constrained by real structural limits. That's the thing. Geographic attendance zones, residency requirements, school board oversight, local funding expectations, limited capacity to enroll transfers. Even when they recruit, they're recruiting from a more local pool. In contrast, many charter schools are built open enrollment, meaning no rigid attendance zones, statewide access to students, ability to enroll athletes from anywhere, brand-based attraction, right, rather than local affiliation. That's what it's become. And I think the magnitude really does matter. The magnitude of what we're talking about here. There's a huge difference, in my opinion, between bending rules in a limited system versus operating in a system built to bypass limitations entirely. That's where we've got to get to. And that's where I kind of put my exclamation point on my argument that we've had on this show and that I've had with other people. Again, I'll say it again. There's a huge difference between bending rules in a limited system versus operating in a system built to bypass limitations entirely, period. So if a guy steals $50 from a store, that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
But if another guy robs 5 banks, you don't defend him by saying, well, everyone steals. The magnitude, Alex, changes the nature of the act. And that's the act, that's the conversation, that's the argument that a lot of these people have is that, well, everybody recruits. Again, that guy over there just stole $50. $50 worth of, hopefully not from Ingles, but somewhere, right? But then, Johnny out there robbed 5 banks. Well, everybody steals. No, that doesn't make sense. Public schools may recruit one player from a neighboring town, one quarterback whose family reload. I get it. But the magnitude matters, and I think the magnitude, 8 to 12 starters from multiple counties, is not the same as 1 or 2 kids transferring here, 1 or 2 kids transferring there. It's just not. Kids whose families don't live remotely close to the area, and athletes who are developed elsewhere. I mean, you're just like, I understand why people get defensive about it. Number one, here's why people get defensive. They work there.
Mm-hmm.
They coach there. They play there. They have kids that go there. They have an allegiance to that school. And here's the reality of it. Just as you know, as I know, as everybody knows, when you mess with somebody's money, they become a little bit knee-jerk. They become a little bit, reactionary, right? And again, it's not that we're trying to mess with anybody's money. It's not that we're putting down charter schools or anything like that. All we're saying is we're not mad. All I'm saying is I'm not upset with you, the coaches. I'm not upset with the players. I'm not upset with the parents who decided to send their kids there. Totally okay. That's what you want to do. Do it. No issue. I'm just saying, as far as competitive balance goes in the postseason, there's no way, shape, or form you can sit here face to face with me and convince me that Oceanside Collegiate yesterday, going against Belton Honeypath, doesn't present competitive imbalance. It does. Period. It does. There were 2 middle schools, maybe just one now. But at the time, there were 2 middle schools in Belton. Belton Middle, and I think there's one more. Russell Blackston is pulling kids from 2 middle schools. Oceanside Collegiate is not pulling kids from 2 middle schools. That, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, that is just facts. And those kids that are playing for Oceanside Collegiate, I tweeted out that audio from Matt Smith that the texter brought up yesterday, and I had the Oceanside quarterback last night liking my tweet. I had the Oceanside coach last night liking my. Everybody's ruffled by, I'm ruffling everybody's feathers here, but all I'm saying is my comments, my stance is not directed at the players. It's not directed at the coaches. It's directed at the high school league for allowing these teams to compete in the same postseason. That's all. I hope that makes sense. I know that was long-winded, but at the end of the day, you do have to have competitive balance, and you just can't. You can go all the theories. You can give me all the facts and information you want about how great collegiates ran, yada yada yada. But you cannot dispute the fact that Oceanside Collegiate had a much broader pool to choose their players from yesterday when assembling that team to go play Belton Honeypath, who was pulling from 2 middle schools.
Well, I know we got to hit a break, Cole, but I'll put it to you. The example of the middle schools in Belton, that sums it up perfectly. And I was talking to someone yesterday afternoon about the same thing, where Belton Honeypath, they're having to pull, Belton Honeypath's quarterback came from the town of Belton or the town of Honeypath. He didn't drive an hour down Highway 17 from Georgetown to Mount Pleasant to be able to play football.
Yeah,
and that's what,
it's true.
So,
but again, when we say that, when I say that, when you say that, people take that as, well, you're coming at the player, you're coming at the parent. No, it's the system. It's the system that allows it. I don't have an issue. One more time with the coaches, the play. I respect a lot of these coaches and players. Most of them, 99% of them. I have good relationships with them. It's not about me disrespecting this school or that school. And look, we all know we broadcast here in the upstate, Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson. We have one school in Mountain View Prep. And this is a much bigger conversation now because Mountain View Prep in our backyard. And I'm always clear. I'm not going to change my stance just because Mountain View Prep's in our backyard now and feel pressure to change my stance. I'm not going to do that. I believe what I believe, and I'm going to stand by it. However, I believe you can have these kind of conversations respectfully and be open to hearing both sides. And just as I told Gray Ramsey yesterday, me and him had a great conversation, very respectful conversation, as we always do. That's what grown adults do. Well, most of them. I'm open to both sides. Always welcome both sides. I want to learn. I want to be educated. But until I'm convinced otherwise that Oceanside Collegiate yesterday did not have an advantage over Belton Honeypath because of the talent pool, I'm not gonna see it differently until you can convince me why Oceanside did not have an advantage over Belton Honeypath yesterday.
Sure.
That's the way I put it. Texter on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line says all charter or private schools should be in their own division. All right, let's go to break. Let's run off to a break. We've got to get to the rest of the scores from last night. Belton Honeypath, I watched the game. Noah Thomas, those guys, they fought just outmatched yesterday by Oceanside Collegiate. Alex will also dive into the games today. We have 3 more games happening today right here in South Carolina State Championship weekend. We'll talk about it next on the Fan Upstate.
Powered by Founders
Mike
Federal Credit
is
Union.
hot.
This is the Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Streaming everywhere on the Odyssey app.
Rolling on, hour number one of the show continues. It's the final Saturday morning scramble of the season. Football season coming to an end. Championship weekend this week. 3 games in the books and 3 more today. We'll talk about them. But before we do that, let's go to the phone lines. 844-326-3663. Phone lines are always open on this show. More than welcome to let your voice be heard. Let's go to Charleston. Cedric wants to weigh in. Cedric, long time no hear, man.
Yes, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, but I'm a listener. I love the show, and I'm going to continue to listen, even when I'm not in the upstate.
Appreciate that.
But yes, sir. I appreciate the fact that you mentioned that you won't, just because MVP is in your backyard, your feelings are the same when it comes to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, because sometimes you'll have people that, if MVP had won it, they may not feel the same way. You got people out there that feel like.
Yeah.
But I want to let you know, and I'm pretty sure you know, that there are teams, public schools, that have kids from all over. Some have more than others, so are we putting an asterisk beside them when they win state championships? And at the top of the list is Dutch Fork, in my opinion. And that's a fact. I know that they have kids that come from many different areas, and it's not just one or two. And it's not just Dutch Fork, it's Somerville, It's Gaffney, all of them. And Goose Creek, and you can look this up, man, they were decimated by being poached by other schools. Quarterback is in Gaffney. How in the world did this quarterback end up in Gaffney, hundreds of miles away? Running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. But it's the world that we live in today.
It is.
It's what's done now. And I just want to know, would you put an asterisk beside a team that has now one or two,
Yeah, I'm with you.
but I'm here to tell you, Dutch Fork and some other schools, man, they got 5, 6, 7 kids there.
Sure. And look, number one, Cedric, again, just as I said in the first segment, always welcome the other side. I love having the debate, love having the conversation. So appreciate the question, number one. Number two, there's no doubt. Look, we said it a couple of weeks ago. I said it. West Side, you go look at their state championship run they had over the past couple of years. No disrespect to their players or coaches, but I mean, come on. You know who was catching that football. You know who was running that football. They weren't from West Side. They had transferred several times before. So, no, not in any way, shape, or form ignoring the fact that kids transfer. They do transfer. Now, I will say this. You brought up Dutch Fork. Oceanside Dutch Fork. They played earlier this season, right?
Yeah, they did.
How'd that one go?
Could you repeat that again?
How'd that game go?
Oceanside Collegiate won the game.
Correct.
They won the game.
Correct.
And toe to toe, and something you wouldn't expect.
Sure.
But because they have kids from many different areas.
So my whole
that they
point is
have-
the magnification of it. You're right. You're 100% right. There are other schools out there that are getting players in from different areas. Kids are transferring. To your point, it's the world we live in. It is just, it's a society thing, right? But I believe the magnification of it amplifies teams like, Mountain View Prep, like Oceanside, like Gray Collegiate, to have quicker success and more success in a quicker way. Yes, Dutch Fork High School has had players transfer in. There's no doubt. But also, I'll tell you another reason Dutch Fork's been good. It's because of that guy who's on the sideline week in and week out, right? So I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. There's no doubt kids transfer.
Cole, the kids in Northwestern, same thing. Now, Northwestern may not have the number of kids that transferred in as a Dutch Fork, But
Yeah.
they do have kids that come out of North Carolina in different areas that play on that team. And this is the thing. They aren't just regular kids that just want it. These are kids that are exceptional.
Sure.
They're above average talent that play on these teams like Dutchford, Northwestern, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Oceanside Collegiate, like you say, they have more on both sides of the football.
Sure.
So your regular schools will have a hard time competing with stuff like that. And I'll say this, as it relates to Dutchford or Northwestern or Somerville or Gaffney or any of these teams that have multiple kids from other places.
Yeah.
It's hard for a school, let's say like Spartanburg High School. They don't really get, they may have one, maybe two.
Sure.
It's hard for them to compete with teams like that.
Yeah.
It's just hard. It's hard.
So what we're doing is
like
we're
I said,
saying because kids are transferring, it makes it right that schools like a Oceanside should be able to compete in the same playoff system that a Belton Honeypath is competing in. And my whole point is, in no world, Cedric, is Oceanside Collegiate and Belton Honeypath playing by the same set of rules.
You're right. And I'll say this, Cole, and then I'll let it go. When I play, and if I play today, the difference is I would hate to be on a team playing for my hometown.
Yeah.
With guys that I grew up with, maybe one transfer, that's it. But we fight hard and we make it to a state championship.
Sure.
And across the field from us is a team
All-stars.
that's built on other kids from somewhere else.
No doubt.
And
No
knowing that you can't compete, you're going to lose.
No
it's
doubt.
sad and it hurts. And I know how those kids felt.
I do too. And I think that's Cedric. I think you put that. I think you put that really, really well. I really do. Hey, and maybe the bigger issue is here. Maybe the bigger problem, and maybe this is where this stems from, is you brought it up. For whatever reason, when you played, when I went to high school, when we all grew up playing, man, we played and we were proud of that town we were from. We wanted to represent that town we were from. And guess what, Cedric? That doesn't mean anything anymore.
Not anymore. No, not it. It's instant gratification.
That's right.
It's give it to me now. I gotta have it now, and I don't want to work hard and fight for it.
Yes.
It means more to me. It means more to me to play and fight with my brothers that I grew up with. Yeah, we see each other day in and day out, and we fight hard, both sides of the football. So I just, man, I feel sorry for some of those kids that have to go through this, man. But like I said, hey, from high school to college, man, it's happening.
It is, man.
I don't know what else. What could you do? What you said is perfect, though, having them play in their own, regular season or non-region, okay.
Yeah.
But when it comes to playoffs, man, you got to have your own playoff scenario over there for those kind of things.
I'm with you. And again, I think it's just about having, and you know what's interesting, Cedric? It's about having competitive balance. And I'll ask you this question. Here's my question I want to know, and I haven't got an answer on this yet. Why are those schools supposed to play in their own playoff? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, why are they opposed to playing in their own playoff?
I don't. I think it's the proving that they could beat a Dutch Fork or
Sure.
a Somerville or and getting in. I don't know. I don't understand why.
Well,
they wouldn't want.
you know why. You know why. I know why.
Right.
You know why?
Well,
Because here's the reality of it. Let me say what nobody wants to say. The reality of it is, Cedric, if they have their own playoff, guess what? They're not getting the same transfers. The coaches still aren't they're not getting the same coaches. That's the facts. You're playing in your own playoff. It's not as sparkly. You're not playing at Dutch Fork.
Right.
You're not playing at Gaffney. You're not doing it. It's not as sexy. People aren't going to be transferring in as much. Coaches aren't going to be going up there as much. They want to play the big dogs in the playoffs, and that's why they don't want to do it.
Well, can I ask you this? Cole?
Yes.
If knowing what you know about Dutch Fork, the many transfer. Do you feel the same about them with the amount of championships that they won, knowing that? And they,
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll say this. I don't know Cedric and maybe I would be better. Maybe I could answer better if I knew the magnitude, knew the number. I don't know the exact number year in and year out of how many impact kind of guys Tom Knotts has on that roster that aren't from Irmo. If you told me it was more than half, I would agree with you. I'd say that maybe I don't know if you put an asterisk beside it, but maybe you do. You do think about it differently, right? You do think about it differently. Right. If you only told me it was one or two guys, I mean, you brought up Gaffney. Gaffney hadn't had a homegrown quarterback playing for them in many, many years now. But guess what?
Right.
Outside of that quarterback, you look at the roster, other than this year when they had a lot of transfers come in for the first time on a typical year in Gaffney, it's still mostly Gaffney kids. So we're just talking about the magnitude of it. If you told me the magnitude was more than I know, and maybe Cedric, just maybe that's a good off-season research project for me to undertake, is just seeing, not trying to blast the kids or anything like that. And unfortunately, I think that's the way it would be perceived by a lot of people. But just seeing, these teams that are winning at all the public traditional schools, what does that competitive balance look like?
Right. You're exactly right. And like I said, I'm just in the group that I just feel like we need to get back to the homegrown high school football kids and how we do that, I don't know, because kids are going to transfer. I mean, that's just like I say, just the way of the world.
Sure. I'm with you.
But
Cedric, good to hear from you, man.
Hey, man, all the time.
Hey, I'm on it. Listen, I'm on air. I'm on air every weekday, 3 to 7. Feel free to call in. Love to hear from you more.
All right.
Thank you, man.
All right, I'll head on up this road and see what we can do tonight.
There you go. What's Somerville Dutch Fork? You like their chances? Somerville's chances?
Yeah, we got a pretty good team this year, and last year the quarterback got hurt in the first quarter, so that kind of hurt us in the championship last year against them. But we got a real good shot at them this year.
Okay. I think. Well, go get them, man. Have a lot of fun tonight. Appreciate you, Cedric.
All right, man.
Thank
you as well.
Yep, absolutely. Cedric in Somerville. Really good stuff, and just proof that you can have good conversation where people agree or disagree, and you can have both of those dialogues. Really good stuff. I love Cedric. I hadn't heard from Cedric in a long, long time, so good to hear from him, Alex. Any comments, thoughts on what Cedric had to say?
No, the only thing that came to mind, Cole, is he brought up the Dutch Forks, the Irmos, kind of that area, and I know that in the Dutch Fork Irmo area there is an all magnet school, an all magnet high school called Spring Hill High School. You've probably never heard of it because they don't play any athletics there. But I do know, and at least it was this way probably 5 or 6 years ago, that students that go to Spring Hill High School, if they want to play athletics, they can choose what school they want to go to within that area, within that district. So, obviously, if you want to play football, why not go to Dutch Fork and go win championships?
Sure.
If you want to play basketball, why not go to Irmo and try to compete for championships because Irmo's so good in basketball? So that's kind of the thing there. And, he mentioned it. Dutch Fork, as of right now, their attendance numbers, they have 1,600 students in that school, which in the current realignment actually has them in 4A, but with those transfers and whatnot, the multiplier does jump them up into 5A.
All right, take a break. Last segment, quick segment of hour number 1, next right here on the Fan Upstate.
Tennessee Department of Corrections, SCBA, and the station. Mike is hot.
Epicenter for highlights, news, and interviews. The Saturday Morning Scramble on the Fan Upstate.
Big thanks to Cedric and Somerville for getting in on that last segment. Really good stuff, man. And that's just proof. I'll let you talk, man, as long as you want to talk. If you've got good stuff, I mean, you can go on as long as you want to. Really good stuff there from Cedric, continuing the high school football conversation. My whole thing is, the last thing I'll say is, when we have these kind of conversations, and really anything in life, I think it's just important to remember these conversations can be had respectfully. And for whatever reason, we live in this world where everybody wants to be keyboard warriors and get online and write their long comments and comment away. But it doesn't accomplish anything. I think the face-to-face, the phone-to-phone dialogue, man, is just so much better. It's just so much better because it's in real time. You're not sitting there thinking about, what you're going to post on your little comment section. It's just, I love it. I love the phone calls. I love the dialogue. I love the face-to-face dialogue, phone-to-phone, whatever you want to call it. Alex, guess one more time in hour number one. Scores from last night. You got them? Big long list, right?
I got them, yeah. Big long list. 3 scores from last night. We'll start with the nightcap where Northwestern, they led 49-6 at the half over Irmo, and they won that game 55-13. The 5A Division II state champions back-to-back. Northwestern.
Paige Wofford coming on the show at 9. Is that right? 9:20?
9:20. That's what you said in hour number one. So if it's not true, then
hold on. Yes, 9:20.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Little brain lapse.
Yeah. The 1A state championship game was the closest game of the day yesterday. Bamberg Earhart, 35-7 winners over Lamar. So the Red Raiders get a win over the Silver Foxes.
How about it?
And then Belton Honeypath, they won the public school state championship last week with a win over Powdersville, but they fall yesterday, unfortunately, in a rain-soaked nooner. 28-7, Oceanside Collegiate defeated Belton Honeypath yesterday in the 3A state championship game. And then your games today, Cole.
We'll hold them. We'll hold them for the other side.
Well, I was just going to give you the schedule.
No, let's do it in the next segment.
We'll hold them. We'll
hold them for the next segment.
Next segment. And Furman men's soccer, they won last night, 1-0 over Portland. So congrats to them. They're headed to the Final Four.
High school football fans are probably thinking, what did you say, 1-0?
1-0.
Nil?
That's 1-0 for y'all.
1-0. They won 1-0 for y'all people up here in Chesney.
How you score 1 point?
Hey, make sure you say Chesney right.
Chesney.
You don't want to say Chesney wrong.
Yeah.
People are critics of that.
Chesney.
Yeah.
Chesney.
All right, let's run off the break. Hour number 2 on the other side. Alex will give you today's schedule. You got to give the audience something to something to wait on.
Come back and listen.
Come back. Paige Wofford, 9:20. A lot more to get to, and your thoughts, your phone calls, text messages. A lot on the stream already this morning, man. Rod, Walter, Joe, Ian, Zach, Ryan, a lot of comments on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, where you can watch the show. Hour number 2 of the Saturday Scramble next.
Atlanta High School football.
Mike
By
is
Founders
hot.
Federal Credit Union.
We're just as upset as you are. We don't like it, but all good things come to an end until next year, until next August. We are live this morning at 2375 Chesney Highway in Spartanburg. I'm Cole Bryson, Alex Guest to my right. We're set up in the Corner Cafe, and we love Ingles Markets. Appreciate their support. Melissa Lavelle and all of the fine folks at Ingles Markets for their support, not just this year, but over the years, the Saturday Scramble, high school football, and what it means to the community. If you don't shop at Ingles, shame on you. Ingles, I'm telling you, they support you and your kids and the community like no other store out there. And it's not just about what Ingles offers here inside the store. It's about what they do outside the store. And Ingles is fantastic. They're operated, family-owned by great people. Melissa, her whole team, just so fantastic to work with. And my goodness, only if you knew what they do for the community when it comes to, your children, high school, college athletics. So much support from Ingles Markets. We appreciate them. And they are the best inside the store as well. Make sure that your weekend starts this weekend with Ingles Markets. I love Ingles, and I know a lot of you listeners out there do as well. And we are going to get to your Ingles one day, Alex. I know you're upset we haven't been to the Ingles in Fountain Inn yet. Is there?
Well, there's not an Ingles in
There you
Fountain
go.
Inn, but
We can't go.
Simpsonville.
No.
Simpsonville.
What does your address say?
My address says Fountain
Then
Inn.
we can't
However,
go to Fountain Inn, Ingles.
my kids are zoned for Hillcrest, so we're the Simpsonville community.
That is the Simpsonville community. And
while we're on the
Yeah.
topic of Ingles, I gotta say, while you were talking about that, I saw multiple Ingles employees walking by. They walk past us every day. They
looking at
wave.
us weird.
Yeah, well, but you never see an Ingles employee that's like that looks like they work at the DMV. You know, like I feel like
What?
DMV employees get a bad rap because they like you go in there and they're next, and like they're always so just don't want to be there.
You don't like
Ingle-
DMV employees?
No, I don't. Sorry to any DMV employees out there,
Gee.
but
We had a nice
You can go
lady.
to the one
at
at
our-
Edgewood.
we had a nice lady that worked at our
Greenville.
DMV for a long time. I don't know if she's still there.
But-
she can be mean.
But what I mean is, exactly, she can be me. But what I mean is, all the Ingles employees you ever see walking around, they're
Smiles.
always smiling and just seem like they're really happy.
They
to be
love
there.
their job.
Yeah,
they love
their job.
I love it as well. Also, want to say thanks to Founders Federal Credit Union for their continued
Yeah.
support and sponsorship of the Saturday Morning Scramble. If you haven't done so, if you're not a member, I encourage you to do it. I've used Founders. They have great rates, man. I've used them, and I love Founders. Whether it's a car loan, mortgage loan, whatever it is, Founders offers just the best rates out there. So make sure you visit your local Founders in the very near future. Also, let them know you heard about them on the Fan Upstate as well as Ingles. All right, Alex, now you are itching to get to it. What's happening today, buddy? Football-wise.
I am
Not all at once. Not any more
I'm gonna go home and take a nap.
No. Let's try that
I'm
again.
gonna take my end of season nap.
Take two.
Let's try that again. Take two.
At
What are
12
the
noon.
schedules? What schedule? What are the games
3
happening
hours.
today?
3 hours from right now, Cole, the 4A state championship game will kick off, and I think this may be the game of the weekend between South Point, the upper state champion, and South Florence,
Okay.
the lower state champion.
Say that one more time.
South Point, South Florence, 12 noon.
Okay.
12:06 technically, apparently. But 12 noon, 4A state championship.
Okay.
What
That
else?
all?
Do-
I want all of them.
Oh, you want all of them? I thought we were going to. Okay. The 2A state championship, Strom Thurmond and Hampton County. No, it's not the Hampton County Murdoch.
Oh my God. You're terrible. Quit.
You are the
No,
one that said that.
quit.
And then the nightcap tonight,
I'm not gonna have to read the schedule off.
a rematch of last year's 5A Division I state championship game. Somerville and Dutch Fork, they will go at it tonight. at 7:30 is kick time for that game.
Kick time.
Kick time.
Kick time. So 3 games today. That took 30 minutes, but South Point, South Florence.
South Point, South Florence at 12 noon. At 4 o'clock, Strom Thurmond, Hampton County. And at 7:30, Dutch Fork, Somerville.
You're like DOT, thinking getting paid by the hour over here.
Well,
Making all day for
I'm
these
just-
scores.
I'm just
these,
trying
these
to,
games.
I mean, what are we going to talk about for the next 20 minutes until Paige
Football.
Wofford comes on?
Football.
Oh, okay.
Maybe even basketball. There is a,
No,
by the
no,
way,
no.
listen, there is a huge basketball showcase going on today over at Spartanburg High School, and some really good teams. I'm talking about from not just the state, but surrounding states. I think it's 5 total games, Alex, 10 total teams. They had to put some of the teams up, in a hotel last night. A couple of them started the showcase over at Dorman. It's not tournament style. It's just showcase. And really good high school basketball happening, like high level basketball. Dorman's in the nightcap tonight over at Spartanburg. They played Independence and won last night. Really good game. They were trailing. They came back and beat Independence. So if you are feeling like getting inside today out of this cold weather,
Well, it's going to be chilly all day.
how about a little high school basketball? How about it?
Go watch basketball.
How about it?
Yeah.
I watched your Gaffney Indians earlier
Where's
in the
that?
week.
That's at Spartanburg?
Spartanburg High
Yeah.
School, yeah. I love high school basketball, man. We had a high school basketball broadcast last night on the Fan Upstate, back over at Greer. Fine folks at Greer. Thanks for their hospitality last night.
Good game?
Good game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I tell you what, I want to say, we were talking about it off the air. I don't recall ever seeing 2 coaches have sons on the court at the same time. That's rare. And then you
Yeah.
add in the element of both of their wives coach the girls' team. That's even more rare. I asked you to do research on that. I don't know if you've done it yet.
I've not done the research on that
that would
yet.
be – that's rare, right?
You know what would be even more rare is if the wives.
I know.
Well, not even. But yes, if there were
You're going to say
daughters
if the
that
daughters were
were
playing on the
there
same
were daughters
team,
that were playing on the same teams as that the wives were coaching. But I was just going to think if the wives were coaching at the opposite schools as the husbands.
Oh, you mean like –
Yeah, I mean,
Not
because
all the
like in a situation of like Burns Greer,
Yeah.
they're close enough that could potentially
Yeah.
happen. But
Yeah.
that's
It's cool, man. It was. I'll tell you, it was really cool. It was something I don't know if I've ever thought about. But I will say this: Ricky Hood Jr. in his first season at Greer, his brother, played in the NBA. A lot of people, remember his name. But Alex, you're talking about 2 coaches whose sons are not just on the team; they are really, really good. Colt Fowler had a great game last night. Ricky Hood III had a great game last night. Both coaches' sons went for 30-plus last night. So very unique. It really was. And I believe it's Nicole, who's in her first season as the girls' coach. And you talk about Missy Fowler on the girls' side for Burns. It was cool, man. I just don't know the last time I've ever thought about that happening, having both boys' coaches' sons on the court, having being such high-impact players like they are, and then their wives coaching the girls' team as well. So a lot going on, a lot of good high school basketball is high school. By the way, region play starts next week.
that fast. Huh?
That fast. Region play already. Now, not for every region. There are some smaller regions, but for like region 2,
like
5,
the
8.
8-team regions
next
where
week.
you're playing 14 region games.
Yep, it is already here, man. Zach on the YouTube stream says Colt Fowler is the real deal for Burns. That kid has skills you can't teach. Zach, you're right. He's special, man, and he is a lot of fun to watch. So appreciate everybody who listened last night as well. It was our first ever Burns basketball broadcast on the Fan Upstate. John Galloway back
You
in
did
the
good.
Eagles. I don't know about that. I was going to say John did good back in the English Market Studios. I don't know if I did good, but I'm my worst critic.
Well, it starts with the producer,
It starts with the producer. You got to have a producer. Yep, you got to have the producer.
Thank you.
It all starts with them. And then, I am my worst critic. I was up late last night listening to the game,
you can't
telling
do
myself how bad I was doing and trying to get better and figure out what not to do and trying to be more like you. But I'll never get there. Never get there. All right, we have Belton Honeypath last night, Oceanside Collegiate yesterday. Not yet last night, but yesterday at noon, 28-7. Did you pick? We hadn't even gotten to our picks yet.
Well, you only picked one game, Cole. I picked all of them this weekend. You picked one.
Oh, my gosh. Is that right?
Yeah, you picked one.
Can we confirm that?
I can confirm that.
So was I supposed to pick more than one?
I had all 6 of them there for us to pick, and you picked one.
But wait a minute. 3 haven't happened yet.
I was gonna say, I guess you could still pick the 3 that have not happened yet.
Well, I only picked the one that involved the team in our coverage area, right? All year long, we have picked teams in our coverage area. That's what we've done.
Okay.
I don't know anything about Lamar. I mean, I
No.
know more about Lamar Jackson than I do Lamar High School. So who did you pick? Tell us your picks.
Well, I picked. You want me to tell you all the picks, or?
Oh, yeah,
or
I want to hear
okay,
everybody you picked.
Okay, well, I picked Somerville to beat Dutch Fork today. I picked Northwestern to beat Irmo last night. I got that one right, so got one game. I picked South Point to beat South Florence today. I picked Belton Honeypath because I can never and will never pick one of those other schools. So I picked Belton Honeypath. I picked Strom Thurmond to beat Hampton County today, and I picked Bamberg Earhart to knock off Lamar. So right now, as it sits, I am 2-1 on the weekend. My lone loss is Belton Honeypath.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's pretty good. The one loss is Belton Honeypath.
Yeah.
Now, who did you think was actually going to win that game?
Belton Honeypath.
No. Who did you think was actually?
No,
gonna win?
I actually thought that they would have a shot.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought so?
But if you would have listened, if you watched that game and you would have listened to the commentators for that game, you would have thought that Oceanside had a 50-point lead the entire game because they were just talking about how the game was over from the start, and how Oceanside had it well in control.
I'm not going to speak on that.
Yeah.
I learned something yesterday. I evidently share my feelings too much. I'm too honest.
Don't do
friend
that.
of yours, friend of ours.
Who?
I'm not going to say
No.
who.
No.
I was texting back and forth with him about something you just said, and he gave a very political answer. Went to comment on it, so I'm going to start being more political. I'm going to start not share. I'm not going to be as blunt, less blunt. That's what I need to be, less blunt, right?
Was that what they told you?
No, he didn't say that, but
Okay.
he kind of, without saying it, said,
Okay.
I'm not going to be blunt like you are.
Okay.
So I'm going to start being more, what's the opposite of blunt?
We'll talk off air.
Off air. We'll talk about it off the air.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it's a good goal, at least, to have. So the 3 games are, by the way, my one pick.
Your
I
one
only
pick.
picked Oceanside.
Yeah,
That was
you
the
picked
only one.
Oceanside
So-
because you had no faith in BHB.
No. I just knew Oceanside was, we talked about it for the entire first hour of the show. That's my only pick. So I'm 1-0. And I may or may not pick today's game. We'll see. There's no teams in our coverage area, right? Unless I'm missing something. No teams
Sure.
in our
Yeah.
coverage area.
Yeah.
Dutch Fork, Somerville.
I mean, maybe not our immediate coverage area, but we are online.
that's true.
And
point.
and folks can listen to
Good
us
point.
literally anywhere. So,
Good point.
Cedric
I'll
and
take that.
Somerville might be
Yeah,
upset that
that's
you
true.
don't pick Somerville.
Take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phone lines where we bring in Todd Staley. Todd Staley is the athletic director at Spartanburg High School. Good friend, and really appreciate everything that he does. We were talking about this back at the end of hour number 1, but wanted to do this today locally and talk about what's happening today at Spartanburg with only one team in our coverage area playing last night, so not a ton of football to talk about, but wanted to promote and showcase an event that's happening at Spartanburg High School today, starting here very, very soon. Todd Staley, athletic director at Spartanburg High School, joins the show. Todd, how are you, man?
Great, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man, appreciate you hopping on with me last minute. I apologize for just texting you a few minutes ago, but wanted to catch up with you. And for those listening in the upstate, Spartanburg, Anderson, Greenville, tell us what's happening today at Spartanburg High School.
So we've got the Hub City Basketball Classic Showcase. It actually started last night at Dorman. There were only 2 games at Dorman. Spartanburg played Cane Bay, and Dorman played Independence. We've got 5 games featuring teams from around our area. At 12 o'clock, we've got Cane Bay playing Fountain Inn, who's coming over. At 1:30, we've got Fort Mill, who will be playing against Bowling Springs. At 3 o'clock, we got Independence out of Charlotte, who's going to play Burns. At 4:30, we ourselves are going to play Indian Land out of the Lancaster area. And at 6 o'clock, we've got Dorman going up against Central Cabarrus out of North Carolina, right above Charlotte. So it's a full day of basketball high school basketball. Love to have folks come out and support these teams.
That is awesome. That is a loaded slate. For those out there that might not know much about it, that might want to come check it out, how much does it cost to get in? Does one ticket, one price get you in for all 5 games?
Absolutely. So it's 5 games. We're doing $10 tickets. There'll be a wristband. Folks can come catch the first game, go get something to eat, come back, whatever they want to do. But it's $10 for the day. A lot of great teams, man. I'm telling you, we've got a special group coming. I think there'll be some really well-contested games.
Yeah.
Big shout-out to One Spartanburg. One Spartanburg is really helped sponsor this thing and gone out and got sponsors into town, and they're doing a great job to promote this, bringing teams from out of the area, spending the night so they could play last night and tonight.
Sure.
So really great event, kick off the basketball season.
And again, Todd, not tournament style, right?
Nope, just straight showcase.
Okay.
Come and just watch some great teams play.
I love it. I absolutely love it. For those that want to see some really good high school basketball, what a better day to do so with the weather the way it is. Go check it out at Spartanburg High School. And how do you go about getting all those schools? I mean, I love it. Maybe you think, I mean, you're obviously the one that's very involved with it as the AD at Spartanburg. Is this something you could see continuing in the future?
I think it's something Coach Zach Rich has wanted to do. We did this a couple of years ago where we had 4 games on a Saturday this same weekend. Last year, Dorman hosted the big day on Saturday. So we're just kind of going back and forth with us and Dorman having the Saturday day. But, you know, between Coach Ryan and Coach Rich and them, something they've been doing for a while. And, yeah, I think it's something we'll continue.
Well, that's awesome. Again, $10 at the door, cash or card.
Correct. Absolutely.
I love it. Todd, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate what you guys do for high school sports.
Absolutely. Todd Staley, athletic director at Spartanburg High School, one of the best. Just to do it. Appreciate his time this morning. And again, you heard him, man. What a better day. It's terrible weather, foggy, a little bit rainy, cloudy, cold. Go check that out. What is that? $2 a game, Alex? I mean, you can't beat that, right?
Yeah, that's
$2.
I mean, that's an awesome lineup of basketball too. I wish I didn't have so much going on this afternoon.
Well, you're a busy man.
Yeah, well,
you've got 9 kids and a lot of you've got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. I get it. If you're single and no kids like me, you can go watch. I think I'm going to watch Burns at 3:00.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can catch the earlier game, but
follow it up with Spartanburg after that.
It's a good lineup, man. Really good lineup. I cannot wait. Appreciate Todd.
Good basketball in the area.
Oh,
too,
so much. So Region 2-5. I mean, just like football, it's a really good region, and then you throw in these teams that they're bringing in from out of the county, out of the state. Man, really good stuff. All right, let's run off to a break. We're joined by Paige Wofford, the head football coach of the Northwestern Trojans, state champion. Back-to-back, two-peat. Paige Wofford of Northwestern next.
by Keyword Fan.
This is the Saturday Morning Scramble on the Fan Upstate.
Continuing the conversation, hour number 2 of the show as we bring in our second guest of the program, joined by Paige Wofford, the head football coach of the Northwestern Trojans. All he does is keep on winning, and he keeps on appearing on this show on Saturday morning after a big 55-13 win over Irmo last night. Back-to-back state champions, 5A Division II. Coach, how's that sound?
Feels pretty good, man. Hey, who's the first guest? Who was number one? Who's number one?
We were actually talking a little basketball, so you're the first football guest. So we had Todd Staley on, the AD at Spartanburg. Yep. I promise it's not. I'm not going to dock your pay. Hey, not docking your pay because you're number 2. Nothing like that. We're talking a little high school basketball, big showcase going on. I know all you think about is football, but you know when there's only one team, Northwestern, carrying the load for these upstate schools, you know we mixed in a little basketball this morning.
I got you, man. No
you get any
problem,
sleep
no problem.
last night, Paige?
Very little.
Very little.
We got home. Even you know we got home sooner than expected. But it's still you know we celebrated a little bit. So
yeah,
it was a good time. Good time, man. I really worked with a great group of people. So it was fun.
Sooner than expected, running clock in the state championship game. 55-13 was the final. First quarter, it was 14-6. But the second quarter, Coach, is where you guys did the damage. 35 points in the second quarter. What was it about the first quarter, scoring 14, and then all of a sudden, you know, second quarter, you score 35, and pretty much the game's over?
Well, just the way we scored them. I mean, we scored them on defense. We scored them on special teams again. You know, there was a moment there where we scored 21 points in 7 minutes. Not 7 clock minutes, 7 minutes. From a touchdown to a kickoff, to an interception for a touchdown, to a 3-and-out, blocked punt, touchdown. 21 points in 7 minutes. You know, that's it's wild to think that. You know, that doesn't just happen. You know, our kids really executed at a high level last night, and you know, to do it against a team like Irmo was amazing, and it's still kind of surreal to think about. So,
Coach, really good night. Really good night for Xavier Means. 14 of 17, 188, 2 touchdowns. And then you guys able to go for over 150 on the ground with Smith and Means, your quarterback, 10 rushes for 60 yards and 4 touchdowns. Talk about Xavier Means, man. For those that maybe this year in the upstate here in Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson, surrounding parts of the upstate that didn't get to see this kid, I mean, from the statistics every week, week in and week out, just one of the more special talents in the area. When you talk about all the guys you've had the privilege of coaching, I mean, I'm sure this one's got to be near the top in Xavier Means and his skill set.
Yeah, I can't say enough about him. Though we've had some pretty good quarterbacks in Northwestern High School, dating back for years and years and years. And for him to step in the way he did and play the way he did, once again, I think he's the first Northwestern quarterback to throw for 2,500 yards and rush for 1,000.
Wow.
So, we've had some, Mates Rudolph never did it. Gates Maloney, he was our only Mr. Football to this point, never did it. And, some of Justin Worley never did it. Those guys were more thrower.
Yep.
But, even Dupree Hart that year, he played quarterback. He didn't throw for 2,500. So, it's been he is a product of our offense and a product of our system, but he's also making our system better. Because he can do the things he can do on his feet, and he's such a good decision maker. We ask him that question every week in our quarterback meetings. What makes a good quarterback? And they know the answers to decisions they make. So he makes good decisions: when to throw, when to run. Really, really had a great game last night. When we needed it most. So it was a great night for him and a great night for us.
Coach, can you speak on Xavier's plans after high school?
Well, he's going to play in college somewhere. He's going to run to 10,700, man.
Wow.
So he's going to be, somebody's going to come and look at him. He's right at 6 foot. We measure him almost every day. He comes in.
Yeah.
Coach, let's try to do it. 6. He's right at 6 foot barefoot. So, for his skill set and the way he throws the ball and his decision making and his speed, a really smart school is going to come in and say, okay, yeah, that guy can win games at this level, and they're going to be right about it.
talk about the interest that he's gotten, and then also kind of the second part of that question. Do you like that right now in state championship weekend is, I'm going to probably word it and phrase it wrong, but a dead period for college coaches to where they can't be at those state championship games?
Well, I think that he's getting interest. By the way, he's getting interest,
Good.
and that's just going
Good.
to that's just going to grow. When people see his measurables and they see his stats, they're going to they're coming.
Good.
Because quarterbacks like that aren't around. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I mean they're going to come for him, and they come to Northwestern anyway. I get a bunch of them, 50 of them every spring, so they're going to come and see him and want to meet him and everything else. But and he's doing the right things in the off season as well. He works on football and runs track and all that. But as for a preparation standpoint, I'm glad the coaches can't come in during the week, can't come to like visit the schools and stuff. But surely there is a way to be able to allow college coaches to be to be at the all
Right.
to be at the game,
Right.
to be at the, I mean, there's some smart people in NCAA and in college football. Why they haven't figured that out and said, okay, this is what you can do. You can go, you can sit, we'll have an area for y'all or something. And, and if there's enough coaches there, they'll keep each other in check. Nobody's doing anything illegal if they're all there. It's that one or two bad apples to spoil the bunch. But, it's just, come on, man. They can get that right. So, yeah, I think that there could be a change there to help the colleges and the people, to help them both.
No doubt. Coach, when you look at what you guys do on the outside, David Flood, big night last night, 6 receptions, 92 yards and a score, average 15 a catch. I mean, my gosh, Cameron Vance, Jonathan Spurgeon, those guys, big impact kind of guys. How much does it help a guy like Xavier Means, not just yesterday, but all season long, when you guys consistently can not just run good routes, not just get open, but also help the quarterback in everything that he does?
Yeah, Ryan Hunter, our wide receiver coach, he and Lee Black coach our wide receivers up, and they do a great job. Because it seems like every year we just keep, having guys that contribute and do a great job and do the things that need to do to win football games, and to have guys around a young quarterback who have experience. And I say experience, 2 or 3 of those Cam's the only returning starters.
Sure.
The other guys didn't start a game last year. So those and 3 of them are seniors. So you had Cam Vance and you had 3 other seniors who didn't start a game last year at wide receiver who, let's be honest, some other kids at some other programs, they would have left so they could play as juniors and sophomores.
Yeah.
But we, our culture and the way we talk to them and the way we develop them, the way we just show them that, hey, stick it out, you'll get your time, and you're going to get your time on a big stage, that they make the most of it. And David had a great night. And I said earlier in the week, I can't remember who, but we've got a lot of weapons. Nigel Smith came in at the end of last year. Nigel Smith was the 3rd string running back going into this season.
Wow.
And then through, by hook or by crook, he becomes the starter, and has 1,200 yards rushing and 100 yards in the state championship game. So, the players that we get that stick around and the culture and development that we've created, they will produce on Friday night. And, it's great to see. It's good to see for a young quarterback to have those kinds of weapons around him. It makes my job easier. But let's be honest, it starts with that offensive line up front. And last night, people are going to ask me, when did you think you had, to do that? Well, last night between the first and second quarter, I think we had about a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and we ran the ball. And I made a joke on the headset. I said, guys, what do you bet he goes to about 15 right here? Because, Irma's defensive line is outstanding.
Yeah.
That is a really good defensive line. But we were getting movement on their tackles. We were kind of negating their defensive ends with our offensive tackles. And he pumped off about a 13-yarder. And I just kind of, just to myself, like, okay, we got a chance here to have a really good offense tonight if we can move the ball like that on the ground. Because I knew we could throw. I knew, we kind of knew we could put it in the air with those weapons we have out there. So, really just a special night to be able to get that sort of thing done against a really good Irma defense.
Coach, we talk about special teams a lot, but you guys not a big believer in punting the football, and I don't know if you have any conversations or gripes or complaints within your household about it, but only 1 punt last night for the Northwestern Trojans. When you're able to do that, obviously you're going to have a big night offensively.
Well, we had a conversation on the sideline with the running clock. Do we want to punt it all? That becomes kind of like a pride thing. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we didn't punt the state championship game, but I don't know if you know who punted that last one, but it was my son.
Yeah, that's why I said that about the gripes.
We didn't have a conversation about it, but it was, that also gave us an opportunity to get some more defensive guys on the field. At the end there, we were rotating 11 guys at a time on offense. There at the end, because we had so many kids. We pulled up a bunch of kids from JV and ninth grade, so just trying to get them that experience and get them in, and we're able to get some more defensive guys in there at the end by that punt. And then once again, Cam Vance and those receivers, they tell us after the game, Coach, we knew we were punting, but we wanted to make sure we had enough time to get those guys in, so we jumped on the ball right away. We didn't let it stop rolling. So I guess that's okay this time, guys. And next time, let it roll.
Yeah. Talking to Paige Walford, the head football coach of the Northwestern Trojans, back-to-back state champions in Division II 5A. Coach, when you talk about this culture and what you've built, I mean, my gosh, 87 games. I know it's something you're not going to talk about and look at right now, maybe one day, but you're probably already focused on next year. But 71-16, not too bad. Back-to-back state championships for you and Northwestern. Talk about what it was like to build this culture. You and your first season, you had to kind of figure out what you wanted this Northwestern culture to be about. It had been a few years since, Kyle Richardson was winning state championships up there. And now you fast forward 7 seasons, 71-16, not a bad record. I'm sure you're proud of, obviously your assistant coaches as well. But when you talk about this culture that's been established, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of fans, coaches, and players trying to chase what you guys are doing. How do you do it?
Well, that's a good question. My first year we were 2-8. So we've lost 8 games in the next 6 years. So it's not bad.
No.
But, that 2-8 season, I wouldn't trade it. If somebody came and said, "Hey, we'll give you a 5-5 season," I wouldn't trade it because that taught us a lot, and really got really solidified what we wanted to do. We went 2-8, then COVID hit. So what do you do? Nobody's improving over COVID, but I started really, really believing that things don't happen to us; they happen for us, right?
Yeah.
So COVID was good for us. We can get into that sounds terrible to say,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But we came out of COVID as strong as any program could because we really had a problem at Northwestern when I got back. When I came back, I was assistant with Kyle for what, 6 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
No, 4 years with Kyle, and we played for 3 and won 2 state championships. And so I kind of saw, and I came to Northwestern in the beginning just to learn why Northwestern was so good. My plan, and once again, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, right?
Sure.
My plan was to come and learn what was going on, and then go back down to the Low Country where I'm from, and try to get a head job there and see if we could replicate it down there. But once again, God had other plans.
Yeah.
And I stuck around here, and then I was able to. I went to Daniel High School, one of the best decisions of my life, to go to Daniel High School, a really special place and really special people, and got to coach for Coach Brewster, and came back and knew what I wanted to do, and had the vision. And then it was just a daily fight. And at one point during that first season where we're losing big, man, our first 7 games, we only played one team that wasn't undefeated when we played the 8th week. So we played Sumter, Burns, Dutchport, South Point, all these teams that were just monsters at the time. Dorman, all these teams that were monsters at the time. They were just wearing us out, man, and they were enjoying it too. Because here we are beating Northwestern like this. At some point during that season, I just made the decision. I decided that we were gonna stick it out. We were gonna do it the right way, no matter what. And it was a daily fight for the culture that we wanted. And I was very lucky to have coaches with me from the beginning. Coach Nato, Coach Hunt, some of those other guys that were there since day one, that knew what we were trying to build, who stuck it out with me and stayed with us. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And, after COVID, when we really had a chance to solidify and really figure out who wanted to be part of Northwestern football, and they had to really commit to it, then we hit the ground running ever since. We went 7-1 that next year, played for the, we're in the semifinals and lost to T.L. Hanna.
Yeah.
So it was, and even then that loss taught me something, because I looked at that as a program loss. We didn't lose to those players. Teal handled so much we lost to their program and the way they did things.
Yeah.
And just, and, once again, that, you learn from that, you learn from your losses as much as more from your wins. So, it's just been, I said it last night, I'll say it again, I'm truly blessed to be at Northwestern. God has had his hand in wherever I've been and everywhere I've been. And it's easy to say now after 2 state championships, but even after the losses, God is there. Sometimes he closes the door, to open another one. And everybody's experienced that, whether you can say it was God or not.
Yeah.
Everybody has experienced something like that and can understand that. And it is a God thing, and I'm appreciative of it. But, I feel like now that, anybody can come to the school. We don't go out and try to replace our own kids with kids from other schools. We don't do that. But we're going to get transfers, right? We're going to get kids that want to come and play at Northwestern. Well, sometimes those kids don't have the best attitude or don't have the best, or aren't being told the right things at home or something like that. But if they come to our culture now, the nail that sticks out gets hammered.
Yeah.
So they assimilate quickly or they're not around long.
Sure.
So, our culture and the way we do things and the way we prepare and the way we just go about our daily business and our win today attitude, go 1-0 every day, is really, really the foundation of what we've been able to build and what we hopefully continue to build. Now, it's not always going to be, I hope we can't get tired of doing the little things right? Yeah. And we've got to continue to try to do simple better. But, I hope people don't take it for granted what we've accomplished the last 2 years because it's really special. And I've just been blessed to be a part of it.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, you brought up transfers there. One of our listeners on the YouTube stream asked about it, and on the text line as well. You don't have to comment on it. You can say no comment, but if you want to comment on it, you can. Zach says, can we possibly ask Coach about his thoughts on the Oceanside-type schools? Obviously, we talked about it for about 40 minutes on the show this morning. It is a lightning rod conversation. We had a lot of interaction about it and talked about it on my afternoon show yesterday. But you know how the conversation is with these charter schools right now. Just in terms of what they're doing, ruffling some feathers. You want to comment on that?
Well, I think that the high school league has tried to handle that as best possible as a body. We've tried to handle that with the multiplier, and then, at some point you just got to tip your hat to them and say, Coach Laprade is a coach's son. I'm a coach's son.
Sure.
Our dads coached against each other. I went to Stratford High School. Yes, I believe he went to Somerville and coached at Fort Dorchester for a long time. At some point you got to tip your hat and say, man, those guys are doing a good job.
Right.
Whether however they're getting their kids or not. I think for that a collegiate school or, whatever, those charter school type deals.
Yeah.
I think that when you look at a school whose business model is they have to recruit to get kids, I think that raises some eyebrows. And I think that's where the problems occur. And that's where the multiplier has to come into effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me ask you this quick follow-up. Do you believe they should compete in their own playoff? I think that's where I stand, and a lot of people stand in just in terms of Oceanside.
I think if there's not a multiplier, if there's not a way to, kind of bump them up a few levels where they're competing against like teams, to be honest with you, competing against like teams. Because when you cap your attendance at 600, and then you can go and get kids, as many kids as you want for that football program and get who you want, that's not the same playing field as a public school.
Correct.
Public schools, we get who we get. So if there's not a multiplier, if there's not a way to increase their attendance numbers, then they should go ahead and compete in their own division, and they can be happy with that. And, why not?
Right.
Why not do that? So I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. And since you brought it up, I'd like to say something about the playoffs, and I'd like to say something about the state of South Carolina. Some very smart people that have gone in these last couple of years and said, hey, we're going to go 5A, but we're going to split it for the playoffs by attendance. And I think having 6, and they're using the RPI and the max prep numbers for playoffs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked out pretty good. Now, it's easy for me to say that, right? We're 27-1 in the last 2 years.
Right.
We've won 2 state championships. But I also know what it's like to be at the other schools.
Sure.
I've been at some schools and coached at some schools where, no matter how well we coached or how well the kids played, they were going to be at a disadvantage in the playoffs. But, giving a lot more teams, it's about the kids. And giving more kids the opportunity to be in the playoffs and giving more kids a chance to at least taste that kind of atmosphere is a good thing for the sport, and it's about football and it's about the kids. So I think having 6 state championships for our state and our size, I think that's a sweet spot. And we keep hearing, I keep hearing these things. Well, they're going to go just to 5A, and that's all they're going to have. Well, that puts half the kids in our state will be trying for one state championship. The 5A will be so many kids that half of the kids in the state are trying for one. How is that fair?
Yeah.
To anybody. And I'm at Northwestern. Once again, selfishly, I'm at a school where we're either going to be a big 4A or one of the smallest 5As. But as a 6A, we're right kind of in the middle of, if there's 6 divisions, we're right kind of in the middle of that 5th division where we're playing like schools.
Sure.
And when a school like ours has, 1,700 kids, 1,800 kids, we're playing teams with 2,500, 1,000 more kids or 2,000 more kids, there's a difference there. And there's a competitive advantage to having that many more students and to choose from and to play your sport. So I think that, when you can ask guys like Tommy Bell at TL Hand, he is a very smart guy and really has his finger on the pulse of this whole thing. And, he can say a lot better than I can, but I like the system we've had the last couple of years. I think it's fair and equitable. I think that it rewards teams that are playing hard stuff for opponents like us. We have to play a tough schedule because nobody else will play it. It rewards us in the playoffs with higher seedings and stuff like that. I think that's fair, and I think they did a good job with it. And now what's wrong with it? Why every 2 years do we change this stuff? I don't. It's just at some point we have to just pick one and go with it. And to keep changing stuff. And I think there's an agenda there by some people. I don't know who they are, but there's an agenda there by some people to just, they're going to muddy the water enough where their agenda gets pushed. And meanwhile, we're all looking around saying what's going on. And in the end, it's nobody's happy with it, or, people aren't just, pleased with what's going on. And thank you for the platform to be able to say something like that. Because, I think unless the stuff that's not said is said out loud, then it doesn't get fixed, right?
Yeah.
So, this is something that isn't talked about a whole lot, but I think that we're told that the body makes decisions. We're told that the body, gets what they want and votes on it and stuff like that. But, time and time again, it doesn't feel that way. So, and there's example after example of stuff that doesn't happen.
And not to prolong it one more. Yeah, again, I was just going to piggyback off what you said. I'm sorry for keeping you long, Coach. I said the same thing yesterday on Twitter.
I don't mind.
Hey, I said it on Twitter yesterday. I've seen Texas State championships. I've been on the sideline and watched those in Jerry World. I know that we are who we are, but I said on Twitter yesterday, I think if we're truly going to make it about the kids, we, as the state of South Carolina, truly have to step up our game. I don't know. No disrespect to South Carolina State, but these crowds, and you can't control the weather. I get that, but a noon game for a team in Anderson, that's being played in Orangeburg, I just think as a state, the kids deserve the best. And you go to Georgia, Coach, you go to Texas, you go to all these other schools. We're just not doing it, in my opinion. I've had conversations with Shane Beamer about this. I think we can do so much better.
You are 100% correct. And if you want to talk to somebody, talk to Mickey Kahn at Clemson, because he was a high school coach in Georgia for a number of years. He was at Grayson, so that they had the talent. They were playing in those state championship games and those playoffs, and he will tell you, in detail how we can fix it in our state. You are 100%. You hit the nail on the head. And look, I understand there's some economic value to going to maybe a smaller venue, but there's and you can either, and this is what we were told. You could either get a paycheck or you can have the experience. Why not both? Why can't we have both?
Yeah.
Or why can't, and you're going to ask, well, I promised you last night with the weather the way it was and it being televised.
Yeah. And
we're not getting that television money. We're getting like $400 a game out of the television rights. That's how much Northwestern made last year for television rights, $400. How many people stayed home instead of driving to Orangeburg when they can watch the game? Heck, I'll stay home and watch Carolina Clemson at home.
Yeah.
So I don't have to deal with the crowds at the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they're being televised and the television revenue isn't being distributed, equitably, or if that's all we're getting for that, then I say don't put it on TV and let's get some gate money and let's at least, try to get a paycheck out of it. Because last year, we were not happy. We're real pleased with the check we got, but we want a state championship, so that kind of covers it up. And then South Carolina State is, Kenneth Berry and that crowd and Coach Pugh, They roll the red carpet out for these teams to do the best they can, but it ought to be played at Williams-Brice. It ought to be played at Death Valley. It ought to be played at these schools and make it a week and make it an event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think everybody would be happy with that. And you hit the nail on the head, man. All we have to do is look at some of our neighboring states, see how they do it, and to just and get our smart people in this state together and say, what can we do to make this event better, and then get it done.
Absolutely. Coach, congratulations on not just this season, but an incredible accomplishment, 2 years in a row, winning back-to-back state championships. Thank you for spending a little bit more time with us today, and congratulations to your staff and kids as well, and we'll talk to you next season.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And then thanks for covering high school football, man. I really appreciate it. Thank
Absolutely. Thank you. Paige
Thanks,
Wofford,
Coach.
head football coach of the Northwestern Trojans. You heard him right here on the Fan Upstate. We'll take a break, come back, final segment of the show. We react and put a bow on what we've talked about today. Next.
Football like the Saturday Morning
Mike
Scramble
is
on the
hot.
Fan Upstate.
Really, really good stuff
Yeah.
there from Paige Wofford of Northwestern. 55-13 win over Irmo. Northwestern Trojans, back-to-back state champions. And I just want to say thanks to Paige Wofford, also Todd Staley, for coming on the show this morning. And, yeah, we did talk a little high school basketball this morning. But I'll tell you what, I know we could probably talk about some of these topics today for 3 or 4 more hours until the sun sets tonight, Alex. But just good conversation. And, I think what I love about South Carolina high school athletics is we have a lot of people who care. And I'm certainly a nobody, but I care a lot. And I've had these conversations with a lot of people. And I just think that for the kids' standpoint, if we're truly going to make it about the kids and say it's all about the kids, we've got to care more from the leadership standpoint, especially at the South Carolina High School League level. Really good conversation there. We could talk about it for another 2 hours.
Yeah, well, if we're going to talk about it for another 2 hours, I'm going to need more coffee.
Yeah,
But, I mean, no doubt.
Starbucks, right?
That'd be like number 4 today.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean,
Just got to do better. Just
Yeah.
do better.
just got to do better. Got to do right for the kids.
400. Did you hear what he said? They get $400
Yeah.
from T. I mean, what are we
Yeah.
doing? And I'm with him. Why televise them? I mean, you said it during the commercial break. The crowds. And I was having this conversation on Twitter yesterday, and a lot of people are going to be, we were talking about it. Jed Blackwell was talking about it. Former sports writer for the Herald Journal, and people who have spent a lot of time in the upstate and in the state know that we can do so much better. Yeah. But why are we just okay with just being? I mean, again, you go watch Georgia State Championship, North Carolina, Alabama, and Texas, and then, well, let's go see what South Carolina does. And no disrespect to South Carolina State, but we're going to Orangeburg, baby.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well, and the thing is, you talked about North Carolina. No disrespect to Gardner-Webb, but they're not holding state championship games in North Carolina at Gardner-Webb. No. They're holding them at Chapel Hill, at Duke, at Wake Forest, the biggest stadiums in the state. Again, why even televise it? I mean, I mentioned it to you during the break. The last time that I saw a stadium packed out for a state championship game was 2021 when Gaffney was playing Dutch Fork. No, not everybody in the state is going to be like Gaffney. Not everybody's going to travel like Gaffney does. Gaffney's a special place. But you're talking about Dutch Fork. Watch that game tonight at 7:30. See how many fans from that Dutch Fork takes.
Well, I was at a home game 2 weeks ago. And saw how many fans they have.
There's hundreds, not thousands, hundreds.
Yeah, it's just a shame. And again, I think where we get mixed up in the conversation is people at the top, just immediately shut it down because they don't want to have the conversation because we're attacking them. But I think there's more to be said about having the dialogue. And I think there's a lot of smart people in this state, and I think we can figure out a way to improve it. I'm a big fan of Scott Early, South Carolina Coaches Association executive director. I think Scott really, and a lot of people could really help us and really try to get us as a state to where we need to be. But, you have to care, and you have to want it for the kids' experience. And, my whole thing is, and, when you've done this for some time, you see what these kids get to experience when they go to these big stadiums at Williams-Brice and those type of things, Alex. And remember the Dorman-Burn State Championship from back in the day at Clemson, right? And the crowd. Talk about a crowd. Yep. Go look at those pictures, by the way. And then you ask the question, I think it all comes back to, does the South Carolina High School League, do the ones who are making the decisions, do they really have the best interest of the kids in mind? Do they really care at the end of the day, about the kids and what matters to them? And that's what I want. I want the players who are playing in these state championships, and not just in football, but every single sport. I want the best experience for them because it's just we're not meeting the standard. We're not hitting the mark, in my opinion. So a lot of good, but I think there's so many areas for us to improve as a state. Well, Alex, that wraps up the 2025 Saturday Morning Scramble, the last episode. We will be back in August. I want to say thanks to Ingalls Markets, Founders Federal Credit Union. Also, Evan from Promotions here with us each and every Saturday morning, so happily joining us, Evan, as he is just so happy to see this thing come to an end, I believe. Thanks to you, Alex Guest, as well. I know you'll miss seeing me
252 days. I'll see you again, buddy.
252 days until the next Saturday Morning Scramble. Also, thanks to John Galloway back in the Ingalls Market Studios, and for everybody behind the scenes at Odyssey Greenville making it a possibility. We appreciate them as well. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at the Cole Bryson, at Fan Scramble, at AGuest519. That's where you can find Alex on X, on Twitter, and we will see you soon right here on the Fan Upstate.